Hi, it's Joe Mazumdar from Exploration Insights at the Metal Investment Forum in Vancouver, Canada. And with me, I've got the CEO of Japan Gold, John Proust.
Joe, nice to see you.
John. So Japan, why Japan?
Japan, very unique destination. A lot of people haven't thought about Japan ever from a gold mining standpoint because Japan has been a closed society until 2012. In 2012, the government changed the mining law to allow foreign companies to come into Japan.
Why would they?
Why would they? In 1943, after a wonderful history of high-grade gold mining in Japan, all 76 gold mines were closed by the government, and only 12 reopened after the war. There were 64 mines that remained closed after the war. And all the Japanese mining companies had gone abroad to start bringing natural resources back. And exploring for gold in Japan, reopening mines wasn't in their mandate any longer. There was a number of reasons why the government would do that. One is that they wanted an economic stimulus after the financial crisis in 2008 and beyond, after some of the issues of the earthquake and the tsunami. They really needed an economic stimulus, especially in the rural areas like the northern island of Hokkaido and the southern island of Kyushu. They needed that stimulus to try and rebuild population centers there because there was a series of ghost towns, there is a series of ghost towns, and they just, besides forestry and fishing, there wasn't an awful lot going on, and farming. So that was the key reason for opening it back up. Also, I think from an exploration standpoint, there may be not having the expertise still in Japan. All the university geology departments had closed down except one. So there just wasn't that end of the mining spectrum available.
So in terms of coming into Japan, it's obviously high on the rim of fire, Pacific Rim of Fire, so obviously for epithermal type of deposits and potentially porphyry types. So what's your focus right now in terms of deposit types?
Yeah, so our focus is low sulfidation epithermal gold deposits. So when we came into Japan as the first mover, we came in very carefully looking at the whole country. We looked at the government database. So we were able to go in to the JOGMEC facilities and to see the whole Japanese government database of all the historic mining, the mines that had been closed, and just get a real flavor for the country. One of our directors was also very well experienced in that area as well. So our targets were low sulfidation epithermal gold. We didn't want to look at VMS deposits. We didn't want to look at other things. Along the way, we found lithocaps. And through one of
these are porphyry copper potentials.
These are porphyry copper potentials. There's never been one discovered in Japan before, and so that was an interesting internal discussion that we had. Should we even look at something like that? But one of the universities was also doing a similar study, and we looked at their information and we looked at the advanced argillic alteration that we were finding. We thought, there's something here. So we carefully looked at the country. We identified that there was really 5 of them that were available. Other ones were under populated centers, under holy sites, shrines, temples. But the ones that were available, we went over and we applied for them and we picked them up.
Okay, and then going forward, I mean, obviously you're an explorer, you want to actually discover something, but somebody who would potentially build and operate it, like a major producer, like what is the interest in Japan right now?
It's extraordinary. And until we started talking to the world about Japan as a mining destination, and then Japan Gold with its first mover advantage and portfolio, I think Japan was not on anybody's radar screen. And I could tell you more than a handful of major CEOs had no idea about Japan being open, or even about the Hishikari mine being one of the best gold mines in the world. So we've had a large number of majors and mid-tier producers that have approached us and that we are ongoing in terms of our dialogue. They're all trying to figure out how they can get into Japan. The other interesting thing that's happened, though, is that your earlier question about the Japanese companies, I meet with them very regularly just to keep them updated because I don't want this to be I want this to be more collaborative or from a consensus standpoint. Previously, they've always said, thank you very much for coming. We're really pleased to understand what's happening in Japan, but we have no mandate to explore. But in just a recent visit that I took to Japan, I had 20 meetings with government officials and the heads of the major mining companies. And all of a sudden it had changed, and they said, gee, we've seen that Newmont or Goldcorp and Newmont Goldcorp are here now with us. Others are really looking as well. And we think that maybe there is room here where our mandate should change. So we feel our mandate's now changing to gold exploration and to gold mining. So that changed the engagement. The final piece was that the smelters, and there's 28 odd smelters in the country, but 5 that are probably appropriate for what we would do, are all running low on silica. They need that for flux, for their smelter. They are not finding sources, and we are finding sources domestically that could really help fill that void. And so they're very interested in what we're doing as well, and they have a mining bent as well as a processing bent. So it's been a real busy time.
So to wrap up, so anybody looking at Japan Gold right now over the next 6 months or so, what could he or she expect coming out of Japan Gold?
So the real catalyst for Japan Gold now is, now that we've set our portfolio, and by the way, we're still generative, because what happens is once you build a portfolio and a profile in the country, a lot of groups, people, universities start to come to you and say, gee, we have this other idea, we made this discovery over there. So it's interesting, we're sort of really thinking about that on the one hand. But our big focus is drilling. It's drilling, drilling, drilling. I mean, we bought 4 diamond core drill rigs. We got 18 international drillers permitted to come into the country because we have 2 major drilling programs that we're starting our phase 1 on both this year and just in June. So we'll be drilling in June.
So right now, like next
few
couple weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're really.
And so that's on what, 3 projects?
2. We're going to do 2 projects initially. One up in Hokkaido. It's the project is called Ikutahara, and the prospect is called Kitano, after the Kitano mine. Down in Kyushu, in the same region, the same province as the Hishikari mine.
And this is a 200,000 ton a year producer of almost an ounce.
Over an ounce, between
gold.
30 and 40 grams, that's produced 7.6 million ounces to date, and still has significant reserves remaining. We're 15 to 18 kilometers away from where they are. We're about 7 kilometers away from another mine, a past producer of about 1 million ounces at 17 grams. And so we have a project called the Ora Takamine project that covers over 5 historic shallow mines, similarly to Hishikari, which had 4 shallow mines. And we're going to be drilling underneath those mines to the optimal depth window where we think new discoveries can be made.
All right, so lots to look forward to in Japan with Japan Gold. Thanks, John.
Great. Thank you, Joe.
Okay, thanks for watching. It's Joe Mazumdar from Exploration Insights at Metal Investment Forum in Vancouver, Canada. Thank you very much.